welcome to my overview of the Stagg EDB electric double bass, which I've modified to make it a much more enjoyable playing experience. So fair bit to get through, so with no more ado, I'll get on to what I've done. As you can see in the corner there, that's my acoustic upright, which I've had for many years, which I love, but I decided to get an electric one. Main reason, I was in quite a loud rock and roll band at the time, and I was getting terrible feedback. It's fine when you got going through a PA with a sound man, but when you're in a sort of smaller venue in a pub and you stood in front of your amp, then I was getting terrible feedback problems, no matter if EQing or any. I tried all sorts, but I could not get to a certain volume without feedback, so hence I bought this. Looking around at what was available, I like good quality instruments. Stagg is not really synonymous with top quality, so I'm a little bit of a snob, but having looked into it, these things are made of solid maple. Everything's maple. The neck, the body, the bridge, tailpiece, all maple, solid maple. So that to me was a good basis to make a nice instrument. I knew it wasn't going to be great when I got it out of the box, and yes, it was fairly awful to play. Now, this is aimed mainly at people who are used to a reasonable quality acoustic double bass who want to swap out of the box. If you just come in from a bass guitar or never played upright bass before, you probably get on with it okay, but for me it felt pretty bad to play. So first thing I did was sort the neck out. Now that is something that I can't do without certain equipment. So I am lucky, living in Stroud in Gloucestershire. We have a really top-notch guy, luthier, Ash from Nightingale Guitars. I'll drop a link in the comments. He basically sorted out the neck for me, so I took it into him. Evidently the radius wasn't true all the way through, and it was also slightly probably not to the eye, but it was peaks and troughs. So he basically planed this area to be actually he put some slight relief, so I was going to say it's flat, but it's as a good bass should be. There's a slight relief, which is a very slight curve that way, which helps to eliminate buzzes and rattles. And the radius, I'm pretty sure he said it was 70mm radius, so he put the radius all the way around, and then just restained it to make it look black again. Also what he did was he put an angle on this neck for me, which I asked him to do. Now these necks are actually totally in line with the body from new, and as you can see now, there's a bit of an angle. Main reason for that is to get it something like the feel of a double bass, which has got a much more acute angle, but also the way I play, I tend to rest my thumb on here, and the gap was so small, I kept literally trapping my thumb in there, so that would make that more playable. He did that just by putting a wedge into the pocket. When he took the neck out, incidentally, there was debris. It's like debris and some cardboard in there, so which is left in from the factory. So it's just as well he did that. Then just filed the nut down a bit, so the strings were nicely up against just off the fretboard there. They were quite a way away from standard, and a bit of playing around with the bridge as well. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but apart from that string, which I use the original notch, see the notch, I had to move over. That's about 3 or 4 mil, about the same on there, and that's about 6 mil there. So that gives the strings a nice proper spread. Obviously I'm lucky with this because I can just emulate what I've already got, so I'm just copying. It does want a slight little bit more work on that bridge. I don't think the radius is quite right, but I said to Ash that I would sort that out. So, and I'll probably take all that paint off as well to make it look nice, you know, it'll just be a maple looking thing. So then the strings that are on there, they were okay. Didn't feel too bad, didn't sound too bad, but not quite right. Now as this was on a budget, I got some second-hand good quality bass strings off of eBay. I think I paid £50 for this set. They're used, but they're fine. I mean, the strings on my acoustic bass have got to be 15 years old or something, so they still sound fine. So as long as they're not damaged, it doesn't bother me. These were Pirastro the Jazzer, and they're over £200 new for a set. So so I was pleased with that. Then getting on to the electrics, first thing I did was, I did read this up on the internet, was I've bypassed everything but the volume. Now, so you got sub bass, you got MP3 in, you got phones and your little on and off LED. That's now bypassed, so hopefully eliminating a bit of muddiness that you might get through the cheap circuitry that all that goes through. And slight disadvantage is there's a little LED light which doesn't come on now when it's plugged in, so you've got to remember to unplug it. Also now I like to use a wireless system, and this is the Line 6 Relay G10, which you cannot plug straight in to this because for some reason it's a TRS type connection on this unit, stereo, which will not switch the bass on. It has to have a mono jack going in. So I've got to around that by just getting a right angled mono to mono jack plug adapter. So that's something I'll hopefully work out later. Also the socket on the bass itself was a bit flimsy, and actually literally halfway through a gig it did come out. Didn't fall out, but it became disconnected, so I bought a good quality, it's a stereo jack, a good quality one, which now that really goes in firm and it won't come out. So that's that. Then the rest, the original one felt horrible to me. It was basically these two, it's still the original rest, but they went into here and here, held in by a crude sort of hollow nut, which allowed this to just flop about, which I found really off-putting. So I got around that by this aluminium bar is actually just the right size to run down a M6 die to thread it. So I threaded the ends to about 20 mil, and then put a flanged nut either side, tighten them up onto this 5 mil alley plate, and then just drill the holes to suit. Two knurled, nice big knurled nuts, bolts rather, or knobs. That's M10 by 1.5 pitch. The length of the thread is in this particular situation is 18 millimeters. Then a little kind of rubber pad in between the plate and the body. That's a little bit of flex, but it's pretty solid now. dead easy to pop on and off. And I also bent it down slightly to, you know, depending on your height, it's just comfortable there, whereas it was up there before. Then I replaced the end of the pin, whoops, with a, you might see there on this Tama kick drum, you've got nice feet on there, so you've got a spike or a rubber pad, depending on whether you screw this up or down or not. So so you've got a pin poking out now for carpet, and then screw it out a bit, then you've got the rubber pad for hard floors. So that works pretty well. So also, I'll just come back to the neck, the marker dots, so that'd be 3rd fret, 5th fret, they're out. I did it on a tuner, so I've put little squares of just adhesive, it's actually insulating tape, white insulation tape, but by the time you get up to this 12th fret marker, it's about 10mm out, so I haven't marked that because I don't really play up there. Yeah, I think that's pretty well it. I'll just play something then, and you can hear what it sounds like. This is DI'd straight into my door, Logic Pro 10, absolutely flat, no effects or EQ, no processing at all. So this is how it sounds in the flesh. Yeah, sounds pretty good to me. So thanks for watching. So this is the overview of the Stagg EDB Improved.